In the world of forensic science, criminals are often undone by what they cannot see. When Dr. Elisabetta Voss challenged detectives with the arrogant words, "Check my car, there's nothing," she couldn't have imagined that a single microscopic strand of hair would unravel her perfect murder. How does someone with a genius-level IQ make such a fatal oversight? And what dark obsession would drive a respected neurologist to commit such a calculated crime? The early morning fog hung heavy over the outskirts of Boston's Beacon Hill neighborhood as Martin Keene, a 56-year-old investment banker, rounded the corner on his daily jog. The amber streetlights cast long, distorted shadows across the empty road. Something unusual caught his eye, a shape too irregular to be debris, too still to be an animal. As he approached, his breath caught in his throat. A woman's body lay crumpled against the curb, her limbs arranged in an unnatural position, expensive clothes torn and soiled. Detective Silas Blackwood arrived as the first rays of sunlight began to pierce through the fog. At 47, Blackwood had seen enough crime scenes to last several lifetimes, but he approached each with the same methodical precision. The damp morning air carried the metallic scent of blood as he surveyed the scene, his experienced eyes noting details others might miss. Victim is female, early 50s, well-dressed, impact trauma consistent with vehicular collision, reported Officer Lena Rodriguez, Blackwood's partner of 5 years. Wallet identifies her as Victoria Mercer. Blackwood raised an eyebrow. The Victoria Mercer, owner of the Mercer Gallery. The same, Rodriguez confirmed, her voice dropping slightly. This is going to draw attention. Crime scene technicians worked systematically around the body, photographing, measuring, collecting. Blackwood crouched down, studying the pattern of injuries. Something felt off. The body position seemed too deliberate, almost staged. "What do you see?" Rodriguez asked, recognizing the familiar furrow in her partner's brow. "Hit-and-run drivers panic. They accelerate away, leaving a chaotic scene," Blackwood murmured, pointing to the tire marks on the asphalt. "These indicate the vehicle stopped, reversed, and accelerated again. Our driver hit her once, then came back to finish the job." The medical examiner confirmed Blackwood's assessment. Primary impact broke her left leg and hip. Secondary impact crushed her chest and caused fatal head trauma. This wasn't an accident. It was an execution. As the morning progressed, media vans began arriving, drawn by the high-profile victim. Victoria Mercer wasn't just wealthy. She was Boston aristocracy, a cultural icon whose gallery had launched countless artists to international fame. Blackwood instructed his team to expand the search area. Near a storm drain 10 feet from the body, a forensic technician called out, "Detective, you need to see this." In her gloved hand sat a small triangular fragment, car paint metallic blue with a distinctive shimmer. "This isn't from a common vehicle," Blackwood noted, placing it carefully in an evidence bag. "Get this to the lab immediately. Priority analysis." Back at headquarters, the initial report confirmed his suspicion. The paint contained rare pigments and a specific polymer blend used in only one make of vehicle, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, a limited edition hypercar, with fewer than 50 registered in the entire state of Massachusetts. As evening fell, Blackwood stood before the murder board, studying Victoria Mercer's life displayed in photographs and notes. Successful businesswoman, philanthropist, art patron. No apparent enemies, no obvious motive. His phone rang. The lab had more information on the paint sample. Not only was it from an Aston Martin, but it contained microscopic particles of a custom finish available through only one specialist auto shop in New England. Cross-reference all Aston Martin Valkyrie owners who've used that shop with anyone in Victoria Mercer's orbit, Blackwood instructed Rodriguez. An hour later, she returned with a single photograph. "I think we have our first solid lead," she said, sliding it across the desk. The image showed Victoria Mercer in heated conversation with an elegant woman at a charity gala the previous month. The caption identified her as Dr. Elisabetta Voss, renowned neurologist and proud owner of a custom-finished Aston Martin Valkyrie. Morning light streamed through the windows of Boston Police Headquarters as Blackwood spread financial documents across the conference table. Victoria Mercer's financial portfolio revealed something unexpected: substantial investments in medical research, specifically in neurological studies related to Alzheimer's disease. "Look at this," Rodriguez said, pointing to recurring transfers. "She's been financing a research team led by Dr. Raymond Chen at Massachusetts General for the past 3 years. Over $7 million. Blackwood rubbed his chin thoughtfully. And Dr. Elisabetta Voss specializes in the same field. That can't be coincidence. A knock at the door interrupted them. The forensics report had arrived, confirming the paint matched the exact custom formula used on Dr. Voss's vehicle. It wasn't conclusive evidence, but it placed her car at the scene. Time to visit the Mercer Gallery, Blackwood decided. The gallery occupied a converted brownstone in Boston's South End, its elegant facade now adorned with flowers and condolence cards. Inside, the space was hushed, art-filled walls contrasting with the somber atmosphere. Gabriella Mercer received them in the private office upstairs, her resemblance to her deceased sister unmistakable despite her red-rimmed eyes and pallid complexion. Victoria was more than my sister. She was my partner in everything, Gabriella explained, her voice barely above a whisper. We built this gallery together over 20 years. We understand she was involved in medical research funding, Blackwood inquired gently. Gabriella's expression shifted subtly. Yes, our mother died of early-onset Alzheimer's. Victoria devoted herself to supporting promising research. Dr. Chen's work was her passion project. She believed he was close to a breakthrough that could change millions of lives. Was there anyone who might have resented this support? Rodriguez asked. Victoria received threatening messages recently, Gabriella revealed, retrieving her phone. She forwarded them to me, concerned they might escalate. The messages were vague but menacing. Stop interfering where you don't belong, and some research should stay buried. Did she mention Dr. Elisabetta Voss? Blackwood asked carefully. Gabriella's eyes narrowed. How do you know about Elisabetta? Victoria confronted her at the Brigham Foundation Gala last month. They had a very public argument. About what? Victoria discovered Voss had somehow obtained details of Dr. Chen's proprietary research methods. Intellectual property theft in medical research is serious business, detective. Billions of dollars and countless careers hinge on being first to patent a treatment. As they left the gallery, Blackwood's phone rang. It was the department's research analyst. Detective, you need to hear this. Dr. Chen's team is days away from publishing a groundbreaking paper on neural regeneration in Alzheimer's patients. Early results show an 83% success rate in clinical trials. And Dr. Voss's research? Similar focus, but significantly behind. Industry insiders suggest her approach is fundamentally flawed. Chen's publication could effectively render her last 5 years of work obsolete. Back in the car, Rodriguez pulled up Dr. Voss's profile on her tablet. Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins. Fellowship, 3 prestigious medical patents to her name. She's considered brilliant but ruthlessly competitive. Look up her vehicle registration, Blackwood instructed. Rodriguez's fingers danced across the screen. Aston Martin Valkyrie, purchased 18 months ago. Custom midnight blue finish from Monarch Auto Specialists, the same shop that mixed the paint fragments we found. Blackwood started the engine. We need to have a conversation with Dr. Voss. As they drove toward Longwood Medical Area, Rodriguez received another update. Traffic cameras 3 blocks from the murder scene picked up a vehicle matching Voss's car at 2:17 a.m. the night of the murder. It's partially obscured, but the dimensions and profile are consistent. The pieces were beginning to align, forming a picture of professional jealousy, stolen research, and 7 million reasons to eliminate Victoria Mercer. People killed for 3 reasons, Blackwood said as they pulled into the hospital parking structure. Love, money, or to protect a secret. Dr. Voss might have been motivated by all 3. Brigham and Women's Hospital bustled with midday activity as Blackwood and Rodriguez navigated the pristine corridors of the neurology department. Dr. Elisabetta Voss's office was located in the prestigious research wing, her name displayed on a polished brass plaque beside the door. The woman who greeted them exuded confidence and authority. At 43, Dr. Voss possessed the kind of beauty that came from meticulous self-maintenance. Every dark hair perfectly in place, her posture impeccable, her white coat pressed to military precision. Her office walls displayed an impressive collection of degrees, awards, and photographs with prominent medical pioneers. Detectives, she acknowledged with a slight European accent, offering a firm handshake. My secretary mentioned this concerns Victoria Mercer, a terrible tragedy. How may I assist your investigation? Blackwood noted her perfect composure. No nervous gestures, no avoidance of eye contact. Either she was innocent or exceptionally controlled. We understand you and Ms. Mercer had a disagreement at the Brigham Foundation Gala, Blackwood began. watching her reaction carefully. A professional difference of opinion, Voss corrected smoothly. In scientific circles, disagreement is how progress occurs. Victoria was passionate, but lacked the technical understanding to fully grasp the nuances of neurological research. Passionate enough to withdraw funding from your project? Rodriguez inquired. A flicker of something, annoyance perhaps, crossed Voss's features before her professional mask returned. Victoria's financial decisions were her prerogative. My research has multiple funding sources. Blackwood shifted tactics. Dr. Voss, where were you between 1 and 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning? At home with my husband Theodore. We had dinner, watched her film and retired around midnight. Is that relevant? We have evidence suggesting an Aston Martin Valkyrie was at the scene of Victoria Mercer's death. You drive such a vehicle, correct? For the first time, Voss hesitated, almost imperceptibly. Yes, though there are several in Boston. It's a remarkable machine, but hardly unique. We also have paint fragments that match the custom finish on your car, Rodriguez added. Dr. Voss stood abruptly, her demeanor shifting from cooperative to confrontational. Are you implying I had something to do with Victoria's death? That's absurd. We'd like to examine your vehicle, Dr. Voss, Blackwood stated firmly. Her laugh was cold, almost dismissive. By all means, detective. Check my car, there's nothing to find. She retrieved her keys from her desk drawer and dangled them before him. It's in the physician's parking structure, level P3, space 127. Shall we? The Aston Martin gleamed under the fluorescent lights of the parking garage, its midnight blue finish immaculate. Dr. Voss stood with arms crossed as Blackwood circled the vehicle, studying every inch of its exterior. It appears recently cleaned, he observed. I take exceptional care of my possessions, detective. I had it professionally detailed yesterday. Blackwood crouched by the front bumper, noting microscopic scratches in the clear coat, the kind that came from aggressive cleaning. Convenient timing. I wasn't aware I needed to consult the police before maintaining my vehicle, Voss replied coldly. As Blackwood continued his examination, his phone rang. It was the lab with analysis of the threatening messages sent to Victoria. The IP address traced back to a computer at Brigham and Women's Hospital, though not specifically to Dr. Voss's office. We'll need to impound the vehicle for forensic examination, Blackwood announced. You can't be serious, Voss objected. On what grounds? I'm preparing a warrant now, Rodriguez replied. Already on the phone with the district attorney's office. Voss's confident facade cracked slightly. This is harassment. My husband will confirm my whereabouts that night. Call my attorney. This vehicle goes nowhere without proper documentation. As uniformed officers arrived to secure the scene, Blackwood noticed Dr. Voss surreptitiously checking her watch and sending a text message. Expecting someone, doctor? He asked. My husband, she replied, tersely. He'll want to know why I'm being persecuted by Boston's finest instead of saving lives today. Interesting choice of words, Blackwood noted. I don't recall mentioning that Victoria Mercer's death was a homicide. The forensic laboratory hummed with activity, as Blackwood observed through the glass partition. Dr. Voss's Aston Martin had been carefully transported to the secure facility, where a team of specialists methodically examined every inch of the vehicle. Despite her protests, the warrant had been granted based on the paint evidence and traffic camera footage. Her husband's alibi checks out on the surface, Rodriguez reported, joining Blackwood at the window. Theodore Voss claims they were together all night at their Beacon Hill home. No witnesses besides household staff, who conveniently sleep in a separate wing, and the hotel footage. That's where it gets interesting. Theodore Voss checked into the Four Seasons alone at 9:17 p.m. the night of the murder, requested a wake-up call for 4 a.m. and checked out at 4:23 a.m. He appears on no other security cameras during that time. Blackwood nodded thoughtfully. So he's lying about being with his wife. Question is, was he covering for her after the fact, or was he involved in Victoria's death? Inside the lab, the lead forensic technician, Dr. Maya Patel, signaled for their attention. The detectives donned protective gear before entering the sterile environment. We've been over this vehicle with every tool at our disposal, Dr. Patel explained, frustration evident in her voice. Luminol testing shows no blood evidence, even in microscopic amounts. The entire car has been meticulously cleaned with industrial-grade solvents. What about impact evidence? Blackwood asked. The front bumper assembly shows signs of recent repair, microfractures in the composite material, and fresh adhesive in certain areas. It's been skillfully done, nearly undetectable. Rodriguez frowned. So we know the car was involved, but we can't prove who was driving it. Not necessarily, Dr. Patel replied, leading them to a specialized workstation. We disassembled portions of the front bumper assembly in a recessed seam between panels, a spot practically impossible to clean without complete disassembly. We found this. Under a powerful microscope, a single strand of hair was visible, trapped in a minute crevice where the bumper connected to the chassis. We've extracted mitochondrial DNA, Dr. Patel continued. It matches Victoria Mercer's profile from the autopsy samples. Blackwood felt the familiar surge of satisfaction when a case broke open. One strand of hair, that's all we needed. Meanwhile, Rodriguez had been pursuing the financial angle. Victoria Mercer was scheduled to meet with her lawyers the morning after she was killed. According to her sister, she planned to announce full funding for Dr. Chen's research, $8 million over 3 years, and simultaneously withdraw all support from competing projects, including Dr. Voss's research, Blackwood concluded. Not just withdrawn funding, Rodriguez added. Victoria had compiled evidence of ethical violations. She believed Dr. Voss had illegally obtained proprietary information from Dr. Chen's lab through a research assistant she had compromised. Back at headquarters, District Attorney Marcus Davidson reviewed their evidence. The hair puts the victim in contact with the vehicle. The repaired damage shows collision, and the traffic cameras place the car near the scene. Motive is clear with the research funding and alleged intellectual property theft. What about Theodore Voss? Blackwood asked. Bring him in, Davidson instructed. His false alibi makes him an accessory at minimum. Theodore Voss proved to be the opposite of his wife. Nervous, sweating profusely, his designer suit wrinkled from hours of anxious waiting. Under Blackwood's steady questioning, his carefully constructed story began to unravel. I wasn't with Elisabetta that night, he finally admitted, voice barely audible. She told me she needed to work late at the lab, which happens often enough that I didn't question it. I spent the night at the Four Seasons. I sometimes do when she works late. It's closer to my office. When did you learn what really happened? Rodriguez pressed. Theodore's hands trembled. She called me. Around 3:30 a.m., sounding strange. Asked me to confirm we'd been home together if anyone asked. I didn't understand why until I saw the news about Victoria. And you lied to protect her, Blackwood stated. She's my wife, Theodore whispered, as if that explained everything. But she couldn't have done this. Elisabetta is brilliant, driven, but she's not a killer. As Theodore was processed for making false statements to police, Blackwood received one final piece of evidence. Security. Footage from a gas station 2 miles from the crime scene. The timestamp read 2:43 a.m., less than 30 minutes after Victoria Mercer's estimated time of death. The footage clearly showed Dr. Elisabetta Voss exiting her Aston Martin, her expression eerily calm as she methodically wiped down the vehicle's exterior with a cloth. Rain lashed against the windows of the interrogation room as Blackwood arranged photographs on the metal table, crime scene images, the microscopic strand of hair, Dr. Voss's car, the gas station security footage. Each piece formed part of the puzzle that had become increasingly clear over the past 48 hours. Dr. Voss had been held for questioning since the previous evening, maintaining her composure even as the evidence mounted against her. She sat across from Blackwood now, posture still perfect, despite the orange jumpsuit that had replaced her designer clothes. Her attorney, an imposing woman in an expensive suit, sat beside her. My client maintains her innocence, Detective, the attorney stated firmly. The evidence you've presented is entirely circumstantial. DNA evidence placing the victim in direct contact with Dr. Voss's vehicle is hardly circumstantial, Blackwood countered, tapping the forensic report. Neither is footage of your client cleaning that same vehicle shortly after Victoria Mercer's death. Dr. Voss remained impassive, though Blackwood noted the slight tightening around her eyes, the only visible sign of stress in her otherwise controlled demeanor. As the interrogation continued, Rodriguez was interviewing Dr. Raymond Chen in another room, piecing together the professional rivalry that had escalated to murder. Victoria and I met 3 years ago at a medical fundraiser, Dr. Chen explained, his voice tight with emotion. When she heard about my research, she became our primary benefactor. Without her, we wouldn't have made the breakthrough. And Dr. Voss, Rodriguez, prompted. Elisabetta and I were colleagues once, even friends, Chen sighed. We took different approaches to the same problem, neural regeneration in Alzheimer's patients. My method proved more promising, and Victoria shifted her support accordingly. Science is competitive, but Elisabetta took it personally. Did you know she had obtained your research data? Chen's expression darkened. One of my assistants confessed to sharing confidential files with her. Victoria discovered this and confronted Elisabetta at the gala. She threatened to report the ethical violation to the medical board. It would have ended Elisabetta's career. Meanwhile, Gabriella Mercer was providing additional context to another detective. Victoria called me the night she died, she revealed, her voice breaking. She was driving home from a late meeting with her lawyers. She'd finalized the paperwork to fully fund Dr. Chen's clinical trials. The announcement was scheduled for the next morning. Did she mention seeing anyone that night? She said she thought someone was following her, Gabriella whispered. A dark car. She wasn't concerned, said she was probably being paranoid. That was the last time I spoke to my sister. Back in the interrogation room, Blackwood presented the final damning piece of evidence. Cell tower data placing Dr. Voss's phone near the crime scene at the time of Victoria's death. Your husband has already admitted to providing a false alibi, Blackwood informed her. He's cooperating now. For the first time, Dr. Voss's composure slipped. Theodore had nothing to do with this. He didn't know anything. So you admit there was something for him to know? Blackwood pressed. The attorney attempted to intervene, but Dr. Voss raised a hand to silence her. What happens now, detective? What's your theory? You discovered Victoria Mercer was about to publicly withdraw funding from your research while exposing your ethical violations. Your career, reputation, and life's work were about to collapse. You followed her that night, deliberately struck her with your car, then meticulously cleaned the vehicle, but missed one critical strand of hair. Dr. Voss stared at the photographs, her brilliant mind calculating, assessing. The silence stretched until even her attorney shifted uncomfortably. You're partially correct, she finally said, her voice suddenly weary. But this was never just about funding or professional jealousy. Victoria didn't just support Chen's research, she owned it. The patents, the methods, everything would have belonged to her estate. Decades of scientific advancement controlled by someone with no scientific background. That justified murder? Blackwood asked incredulously. Dr. Voss leaned forward, her eyes intense. You have no idea what we're on the verge of discovering, detective. This treatment isn't just about Alzheimer's. It's about fundamentally altering human neural capacity. Victoria Mercer saw dollar signs. I saw human potential. As she spoke, Rodriguez entered and slipped Blackwood a note. Security footage from Victoria's building showed Theodore Voss meeting secretly with Gabriella Mercer multiple times in the weeks before the murder. The case had just developed another layer of complexity. The courthouse steps glistened with morning dew as journalists gathered for Dr. Elisabetta Voss's arraignment. The case had captured national attention, a brilliant neurologist charged with the calculated murder of a prominent arts patron. The media painted it as a collision of two worlds, the sterile precision of science versus the passionate expression of art. Inside, Blackwood sat beside District Attorney Davidson as Dr. Voss entered in handcuffs, her elegant features drawn after 2 weeks in custody. Theodore Voss watched from the gallery, his expression unreadable. The state charges Dr. Elisabetta Voss with murder in the first degree, Davidson announced to the packed courtroom. We will prove that the defendant deliberately and with premeditation took the life of Victoria Mercer to protect her professional interests and conceal ethical violations. The judge set bail at $5 million, a sum the Voss family managed to post by that afternoon. As conditions of release, Dr. Voss surrendered her passport and agreed to electronic monitoring while awaiting trial. Outside the courthouse, Blackwood intercepted Theodore Voss. We need to discuss your relationship with Gabriella Mercer. Theodore's face paled. That was nothing. A brief indiscretion. Meeting secretly with the victim's sister weeks before the murder doesn't look like nothing, Blackwood countered, especially when you provided a false alibi for your wife the night of the killing. After further questioning, Theodore admitted to an affair with Gabriella, but insisted it had ended months before Victoria's death. Phone records confirmed his story. The connection had been a red herring, unfortunate timing rather than conspiracy. As the case proceeded toward trial, Dr. Voss's defense strategy shifted. Her attorney approached the district attorney with an offer. Dr. Voss would plead guilty to manslaughter in exchange for a reduced sentence. She's trying to avoid a murder conviction, Davidson told Blackwood. Claims it was a confrontation gone wrong, not premeditated. That contradicts. So all the evidence, Blackwood objected. The car repairs, the meticulous cleaning, the calculated impact patterns. I agree, Davidson nodded. We're rejecting the offer. 2 days before jury selection was set to begin, Dr. Voss requested a meeting with Blackwood, alone without her attorney present. Against his better judgment, Blackwood agreed. The detention center's interview room was sparse and cold. Dr. Voss entered with the same poise she had displayed throughout the investigation, though prison had taken a visible toll. I wanted to see you before the circus begins, she said without preamble. You were very thorough, Detective, more than I anticipated. 1 strand of hair, Blackwood reminded her. That's all it took. Ironic, isn't it? A lifetime of scientific precision undone by something microscopic. For the first time, he saw genuine emotion in her eyes, not remorse, but a kind of bitter appreciation for the symmetry of her downfall. Why? Did you really do it? Blackwood asked. Not the story for the jury, the truth. Dr. Voss studied him for a long moment. Our research wasn't just about treating disease, Detective. It was about enhancing human cognition beyond natural limitations. Victoria discovered this potential and planned to bury it. She thought it was too dangerous, too disruptive. She was going to redirect Chen's work to conventional treatment applications only. So you killed her to preserve your vision of scientific progress? I killed her because she was going to set human advancement back by decades, Dr. Voss corrected. Sometimes a single life must be sacrificed for the greater good. Blackwood stood to leave, disgusted by her cold rationalization. You haven't found everything, Detective, Dr. Voss called after him, a strange smile playing at her lips. Victoria's death ensured the research continues, even without me. Check the trust documents. Her sister doesn't share her. Reservations. The trial proceeded swiftly. The forensic evidence, particularly the strand of hair, proved decisive. After just 6 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict on all counts. Dr. Elisabetta Voss was sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. As she was led from the courtroom, she paused beside Blackwood. They'll call me a monster now, she whispered, but in 20 years, they'll call me visionary. Chen's breakthrough was just the beginning. 1 month later, Blackwood discovered what she meant. Gabriella Mercer had quietly established a new research foundation, appointing Dr. Raymond Chen as scientific director. Their first initiative, exploring neural enhancement applications based on the original breakthrough, exactly what Victoria had sought to prevent. The single strand of hair had solved 1 murder, but failed to stop the dangerous research that had motivated it. Some threads, once pulled, continue to unravel long after justice is served.